Honestly, I would just can this whole bill. Don't pass it.
Elon Musk has stated time and time again that Tesla doesn't want or need the United States to be spending any money on propping up electric vehicles through tax credits and other subsidies. By the same token, he's called for the US to end any financial support for the oil and gas industry in order to create a level playing field. However, the Biden administration hasn't done either of these things. Instead, the government has introduced the Inflation Reduction Act, which President Joe Biden signed into law on August 16, 2022. The poorly named new law aims to reduce inflation by spending over $400 billion on various items, particularly on EV tax credits, as well as insourcing electric vehicle components. Now, at first glance, spending hundreds of billions of dollars does the opposite of reducing inflation. It increases it. Adding more money into the system, as we saw with the Fed printing trillions of new dollars over the past few years due to the pandemic, floods the system with money and adds to the country's deficit. As a result, the Federal Reserve has now had to increase interest rates multiple times to tame the raging inflation that has stemmed from uncontrolled money printing. However, with regards to electric vehicles, the Inflation Reduction Act is packed with potential benefits for players in the automotive supply chain, as well as those working on green energy products. And surprisingly, the Inflation Reduction Act could actually help reduce inflation, perhaps not in the short term, which would be desired at the present time, but at least maybe on a longer time horizon. The new law immediately ended the benefits for approximately 70% of vehicles that were eligible for up to $7,500 in tax credits. Only approximately 20 vehicles remain that qualify and meet the criteria of having final assembly being done in North America, which is now a necessity. There's an array of new rules for specific vehicles being able to qualify for the novel $7,500 credit. Vans, trucks, and SUVs are capped at $80,000 in selling price, whereas smaller vehicles, such as electric sedans, must have an MSRP of under $55,000. Furthermore, half of the credit is satisfied by North American battery components, and the other half for battery minerals. In terms of battery components, they must be made in North America, following an aggressive schedule starting at 50% in 2024, going up 10% each year until it reaches 100% North American made. Battery minerals, on the other hand, have a similar schedule starting at 40% in 2023 of battery input minerals that must be sourced from a country with a free trade agreement with the US. They can also be recycled, and this percentage grows 10% per year until it hits 80%. This is really aimed at putting a damper on China, which today is one of the primary sources for many battery materials. Now, so far, these criteria already completely flip the entire EV industry on its head. Both Tesla and General Motors lost their ability to earn tax credits after hitting the 200,000 vehicle per manufacturer cap for sales of EVs in the United States. But starting in 2023, these two companies will once again be eligible to receive new credits on vehicles that meet the qualification rules, whereas many other companies that may have previously qualified now have many vehicle models that have been ruled out. This is a massive benefit for Tesla and GM since they took full advantage of the tax credits that were available at the time, while all the other automakers did not exhaust their full potential. Now, Tesla and General Motors can capitalize on the new system, while other automakers, small and large, may need to work a lot harder and make many more investments to meet the qualification rules. Tesla already produces the most American-made cars, the Model 3 and the Model Y, for which all but some of the higher-end models will qualify, and Tesla has massive production volume already in the US. Giving consumers $7,500 off makes their vehicles highly competitive in the EV space and for multiple years to come, as even Tesla improves itself to make their vehicles still more American-made. This bill seems to bolster Tesla's already dominant position in the EV space, thanks to Elon Musk's forward-thinking vision. Now, to reiterate something, while Elon Musk will give his opinion and recommendation, as he did by saying that he thought the government shouldn't have any subsidies whatsoever, Tesla isn't a dumb company. They will make every effort possible to capitalize on these and any tax credits that are available and reinvest the money to accelerate and grow their business even further. And by the way, stop using Yahoo Finance, stop using Google Finance, and have a look at our website, themarketisopen.com, where we have instant stock quotes and financial data going back 10 years, and it's all freely available. Now, so far, this bill actually seems to be well designed to bolster the United States' competitive advantage over multiple years and reduce their dependence on other countries, in a sense helping to mitigate one of the core issues of the fossil fuel industry and an OPEC-like monopoly situation. Loop Funds' Gene Munster points out the massive investments being made in the US. According to the White House, since Biden took office, $36 billion has been announced for investment in EV manufacturing and $48 billion in batteries in the United States. We're seeing OEMs like Toyota with a $3.8 billion investment. Honda and LG are investing, General Motors with their Ultium battery factories, even China's CATL, the world's largest battery manufacturer, is planning to expand into the US. So this could really be driving growth away from China and into the US, as Loop Ventures notes, which is positive for the US economy and will create many more competitors over the long term, all trying to keep their vehicle prices below the thresholds in order to qualify for the tax credits. So in one sense, the reduced cost of EVs will lower inflation, and electric vehicles inherently require less maintenance, don't use fossil fuels, so they're much cheaper to power than ICE cars, and this increases access to everyone for these types of vehicles, which is certainly good for the consumer, albeit this will play out over multiple years. The Biden administration is aiming for 50% of new vehicles to be electric by 2030, which is a 10 times increase over today. So it's a very aggressive goal, and this bill is getting all companies that can help on board. And if you look at companies like Rivian, for example, where their base models start in the low $70,000 range, and with add-ons you quickly surpass the $80,000 threshold, or even Tesla's higher-end Model 3s, which are above the $55,000 threshold for sedans, being able to cut costs even slightly can enable more EV models to access the tax credit, again lowering the cost to consumers, which intrinsically lowers inflation. It should also be mentioned that the Inflation Reduction Act increases taxes elsewhere, such as a 15% minimum corporate tax, to mitigate the estimated spending, because it gets ridiculously better. So much so that UBS analyst Tim Bush said, "It almost seems too good to be true from a battery maker's perspective." The Inflation Reduction Act includes a $35 tax credit for each kilowatt hour of battery cells that are produced and an additional $10 per kilowatt hour for manufacturing battery modules or basically assembling battery packs. Now, one of our top longtime Patreon supporters, Bradford Ferguson, has uncovered the interesting fact that for Tesla's Giga Nevada factory, where Panasonic works with Tesla to produce battery cells, according to the clauses in their agreement, Tesla would be the one to claim any tax credits that the factory generates. And according to Bradford, this could amount to $1.5 billion per year, which assumes a 35 gigawatt hour capacity of the current factory. Tesla doesn't need to do anything new, and they get an astounding $1.5 billion. And to put that into perspective, that would be an additional 15% of Tesla's profits from the last 12 months. But Tesla could further increase the output of Giga Nevada by improving cell output and even battery chemistry. Panasonic is planning for incremental chemistry improvements for a 20% increase by 2030. Tesla is also ramping up its next generation 4680 batteries at Giga Texas, for which it plans on hitting closer to 100 gigawatt hours over the next few years, and Giga Texas will be putting them into packs which would qualify for the full $45 credit. Approximately just 10 4680 battery cells store 1 kilowatt hour of energy and would get $35 off in credits. Tesla also has a Megapack factory which assembles giant battery packs. Tesla is building at 40 gigawatt hours of just Megapack capacity, which at $10 per kilowatt hour is another $400 million per year once they hit capacity. It will still take time to build these factories, but Tesla has already started far in advance of the new bill, which means they can start taking advantage of the credits on a large scale sooner than any competitor. According to rumors, Tesla was planning to take its planned battery equipment from Giga Berlin in Germany and ship it to the US to further take advantage and be prepared for these new tax credits. However, according to an article by Drive Tesla Canada, they've pointed to a German source, RBB24, that said Tesla confirmed they have no plans of slowing down battery production on their Giga Berlin factory, but instead further accelerate battery production at both its Berlin and Austin gigafactories. Another appealing viewpoint is to look at the costs associated with producing batteries. In the past, we've done a video on BYD being one of the leaders in LFP batteries with some of the lowest costs in the industry at 55 euros per kilowatt hour, which is roughly also $55 today. Even CATL is said to be at $75 with battery packs in the $85 range. While recent inflation may have increased these numbers, Tesla is seeking to drop its costs into this state-of-the-art territory with the 4680 battery. So at $45 per kilowatt hour in tax credits for the entire pack, this could cover the majority of the costs of actually making a battery cell along with the pack. So this gives an idea of what's achievable, where Tesla may be headed, and how lucrative these tax credits can be. Tesla's plans for ramping up battery production in order to scale electric vehicles were already enormous to begin with, but now these tax credits do in fact seem too good to be true, as they could vastly boost Tesla's earnings potential over the next 10 years. The Inflation Reduction Act is incentivizing companies to invest in the US and make changes to their businesses to secure domestic production and manufacturing, and over time reduce the cost of their products. In Tesla's case, Wall Street analysts don't seem to have factored in the insane potential of Tesla's battery plans in relation to the new tax credits. Elon Musk has stated in the past that lithium batteries are the new oil, and Tesla wants to solidify its presence as the largest producer and consumer of batteries in the US. So do you think that the Inflation Reduction Act is indeed too good to be true for a company such as Tesla, or is it the real deal in terms of leading to massive increased profitability? And when or what will it take for Wall Street to begin factoring in these new tax credits into Tesla's valuation? If you enjoyed this video, have a look at my last two videos on what Tesla may be planning to unleash in the latter part of this year. Please hit the like button and subscribe, we would really appreciate that. And a huge shout out to all of our patrons that help to support our channel. Your support helps us to continue to make great content. Thank you guys so much for watching.